So it is nearly April, and out of the 10 books that I had on my March TBR, I have only read 1. Last month I swore to myself that I would read every single book this month on my TBR, and considering I haven't done that, we are back with can I finish my March TBR. Guys, I don't know how I'm in this situation again. We are a week away from April and I have only read 1 book on my March TBR, and that was Earthlings by Siaka Murata. Although that book was great and I absolutely loved it, we have 9 more that I haven't read yet. Let's attempt to read 9 books in 1 week. So the remaining books on my March TBR, and thus the TBR for this video, are The Only One Left by Riley Sager, Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, Death in Her Hands by Atessa Moshfegh, Powerless by Lauren Roberts, Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong, The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, and finally Die My Love by Ariana Howicks and Modern Divination by Isabel Agjanyan. Before I start, I have accepted that these 2 books I am not reading in this video. This one I want to do its own little reading project for, so that is gone. And Immortal Longings I have finally decided to unhaul. So this is going in general. In terms of the books that I'm currently reading, I have 100 pages left of both Modern Divination and Die My Love. So this is first on the agenda. I'm going to finish both of these and then we will tackle the rest of the TBR. Guys, I finished Modern Divination by Isabel Agjanyan. This book, the way that they ended this book, sick and twisted. Like, how can you end a book like this? And also the fact that this is a series, but now because it's being traditionally published, the second book probably isn't going to be out till like 2026. This was so good. I binge read the majority of it in a 24-hour readathon, which is coming soon, but I absolutely adored this. Like, the hype for this, so real. I'm so happy that it's been picked up by a traditional publisher. So good. Academic rivals to lovers, like a dark academia fantasy. Really at times felt like Howl's Moving Castle, which I adored. And in general, the writing style was astonishing. Like, so lyrical, so beautiful. Like, this author knows how to write. Like, I was stunned so many times at so many quotes. And as far as Academic Rivals to Lovers go, I really did like it, but I felt like for me something was slightly missing in terms of like the enemies. The case for me where I knew they were enemies but they didn't really feel like they were. Like, there wasn't that much tension at the beginning, and that kind of like dwindled that slightly for me. Overall, it definitely didn't affect how much I liked the book. I ended up rating it 4 stars. So happy that I finally read it, even though the sequel probably isn't going to be out for so many years, and based, like I said, on how this ended, like, I need it right now. Would highly recommend. That's 1 more ticked off of my TBR for March. Now today I am gonna finish Die My Love. Considering this is like 120 pages, it's taking me so long to read it. It does not need to take me this long. I'm on page 63, so I'm like literally about halfway. I definitely will be finishing it on my break today at work. I don't know whether I'm disgusted, in awe, or completely shocked by this book. Like, I don't know how to feel about it. The writing style is astonishing. It is basically following this mother who despises her husband and despises her child and being a mum, and due to that, a lot of the things that she says are so problematic and so inherently wrong. Like, the things that she thinks about her child and her husband, like, I'm so disgusted, but equally the way that the author is writing this character and her thoughts, and like, we know that she's clearly not very mentally well. It's so fascinating and so compelling, but equally is quite heavy, so I think that's probably why it's taken me a little bit longer than I first anticipated. But I definitely will be finishing this today, and then tonight we can start a new book. I think I know which one I want to start, and I'm really excited. I already just want to get home from work, cuddle up in bed with my Kindle, but first we'll finish Die My Love and I'll be back with my thoughts. I found a new angle to film in. How do we feel about this? I kind of like it. You can really see my desk. But I'm here to let you know that I have now finished Die My Love by Ariana Howicks. I finished this at work yesterday. Good times for a change. See the look I've had. What the fuck? How did... I'm so confused. Sorry? How did that randomly just start playing? I weren't even listening to the Smiths this morning. That's really weird. Okay, anyway, I finished On My Love. That has really thrown me off, but I finished this at work yesterday and I loved it. What a grotesque, gritty, really eloquent, but such a disturbing piece of fiction that I absolutely would not recommend widely. I would definitely only recommend this to a handful of people if you like weird fiction that has really interesting character analysis, really disturbing character analysis. In this, we are following a mother who despises her son and her husband. Not sugarcoating it at all. She despises them to the point that she kind of fantasizes about their loss of life, and it is such a disturbing book because of her narrative, but being in her brain is so fascinating. It is kind of unlike anything I've read before. It is so fragmented in its rage. It was so embedded. Her entire life was the rage that she had for her husband and son and motherhood, and it really reflected in the writing. So much so that even though this is a 120-page book and normally I could binge read that in an entire day, this took me so much longer to read than I first anticipated. Definitely a heavy read, definitely a fragmented read. There is no real timeline, no real plot. It is just her thoughts about her husband and her son, but the writing style was astonishing. On the blurb, the Times Literary Supplement blurbed it as celebrating lust and bowlishness with an intensity worthy of Clarice Lispector. Obviously, I absolutely adore Clarice Lispector. My best friend recommended me this one, who also adores Clarice Lispector. She thought I would really like it, and that's how I got the recommendation. And I would definitely say that there are some similarities between Arianna Huwicks's narrative and Clarice Lispector. Although so incredibly different, their narratives are definitely quite similar in the way that they are fragmented, and it is really just focusing and hyper-focusing on one person and their brain. The author does not hold back on showing us the main character's deepest and darkest and most grotesque thoughts, and it is so compelling because of it, and so just unlike anything I've ever really read before. I ended up rating it 4 stars. I really did like this. It's not a book that you enjoy, absolutely not, but due to how unique it was, and there were absolutely so many quotes that I read and I was so astounded by, I loved it. I'm really intrigued to read some more from this author. I believe that this is actually like some sort of trilogy, so I will definitely read the next 2. I know that they are fairly short, so I don't see the point in not carrying on. As I said, it's not one that I would recommend widely. I think if you are thinking about going into this, if I, based on what I have said, have kind of urged you to, please check out the trigger warnings and the content warnings in this. It does not hold back, especially when it comes to motherhood and children. Such a fascinating and compelling read, and I rated it 4 stars. So obviously I finished that yesterday, and you would have seen based on some b-roll, I did start another book, and I read quite a bit of it last night and also a little bit more this morning, and that is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Obviously an incredibly different sort of read. This is an adult thriller that I've had on my radar ever since it was first published. I love Riley Sager's thrillers. Like, there are some things in his books, don't get me wrong, I don't like. His thrillers overall for me have always been 4 stars. I did rate one lower. I think that was Survive the Night. I think I rated that like 3.5 stars. But I really enjoy Riley Sager's thrillers, and this is the one that everyone was talking about last year. Is his newest release, and everybody loved it. So far, I can 100% attest to that. I am on page 167, which is chapter 21, and I'm really enjoying it. I've really missed the feeling of binge reading an adult thriller. There was a moment in history there where I read adult thrillers back to back, like every single week I was reading about 2 thrillers, and then I kind of just stopped. But reading this, I'm reminded of why I liked reading them so much. They are always so fun and so addicting, and this one is just so fascinating. In this one, we are following Kit, who is our protagonist. She has just kind of arrived at the Hope family mansion that lives like very much cliffside, like is tilting into the sea. Terrifying. So I'm so sorry if you actually can hear my washing. I have my bedding on. That's probably quite annoying. She's just arrived to become Leora Hope's caregiver. Leora Hope was a girl who lived in this family home. She was one of the daughters, and it is rumoured and it is speculated that decades prior she murdered her entire family, but there was no proof. She was never convicted of it, and ever since she has just lived her life kind of captive in the mansion on the cliffside, kind of her own doing, or so we suspect right now. That's all we kind of know. And so Kit becomes her new caregiver, and it's very much following Kit trying to discover and actually find out if Leora Hope did murder her entire family way back when. It's so fascinating. Leora Hope is in a wheelchair. She's kind of immobile. She doesn't really speak, but Kit brings a typewriter, and now Leora is kind of like just typing away her little silly goofy. Do you know what? Leora is fucking hilarious. She's thriving off of all of the drama that she has kind of given the world the past couple of decades, but we are finding out what happened. Obviously, based on how far I am still under halfway there, so I don't really know how it's going to unravel. I'm so intrigued to see how it is. I read so much last night, and I kind of forgot about how fast-paced Riley Sager's thrillers are. Like, I always read them so incredibly quickly, to the point that I hope I can finish this today. I don't know if I will be able to, but I'll definitely finish it tomorrow. If not, I am kind of flicking between the physical copy and my Kindle. But I'm really enjoying this. I'm gonna read some more now. I think I'm gonna do another TikTok live because I have not stopped doing them recently because they're so fun. I'll try and read a little bit more. I will be back very soon with an update. I may even have finished it by then. Probably not, but perhaps if I cannot stop reading it. So this morning I finished The Only One Left, and guys, plot twist after plot twist after plot twist. I still have my bookmark in it, but that's because I was finishing it on my Kindle. I finished it this morning laying in bed next to my boyfriend, who was still asleep, and I was fighting for my life to not make audible reactions. I really love this. I've definitely missed reading an adult thriller, and I love Riley Sager's ones every time. Like, he never misses. Don't get me wrong, there were definitely some things in this book that I was like, this is just quite outlandish. This would never happen in the real life. For example, the police investigator, like the #1 detective on this case, was also the detective on Kit's normal case, and just the way that he kind of dealt with the facts and like Kit kind of being involved in this new case, it was just so ridiculous. Like, it would never happen in real life. He was terrible at his job. He did not do his job, and that definitely served the plot, which is absolutely fine. I know in thrillers they can't 100% be that believable all the time. I think that would be my only real critique. I think as a thriller it was really good. I read it quite quickly. I did not want to put it down, and it really did just make me miss reading adult thrillers, so I definitely want to make sure that I read some more. I do have None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell on my April TBR, so that will probably be the next one that I read. Really happy with how this one went and how I felt about it. Like I said, I love Riley Sager's thrillers. I'm so excited for his next one that is coming out this year. Ended up rating this one 4 stars. It was a really fun time. The plot twists, as I said, were just like, I saw some of them come in, but a lot of them I was actually like, my jaw was on the floor. So fun, so dramatic. I loved it. Now though, I will say it's currently the 31st of March. We have 1 day left of seeing if I can read my March TBR, and that is obviously not gonna happen. I still have so many books on my March TBR, but the one that I want to get to next is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I have been wanting to read this book for so long. I was fighting for my life to get it on a TBR finally. I can't literally not read it. So this is the next one that I'm gonna read. Do I think that I'm gonna read this in 1 day and before the end of March and the beginning of April? Absolutely not. Unless somehow today I manage to binge read over 500 pages, it's not happening. I do definitely want to make a start of it and hopefully get a chunk of the way into it, even if I don't finish it. Obviously in other videos I'll be talking about it, no doubt. You'll be able to see my review on my Goodreads if you follow me over there, always linked down below. So I won't finish it in this video unless I'm very much surprised by myself. It's not gonna happen, but I want to start it. So we're gonna start it today. I'll give you some updates as I go, and I'm just so excited. I've had the most incredible things about this. Obviously this was one of the fantasy books that everyone was talking about last year, and I never got round to it. Now I'm in my fantasy era. It's been on my brain 24/7. Like, this is the only thing I currently want to read, and so I can't wait. So let's see how much of Powerless I can read just today. As expected, I only read 50 pages of Powerless. Obviously I did not finish it for this video. It was incredibly ambitious to even consider the fact that I would read 500 pages in 1 day. I only read 50 more pages. I am still currently reading this at the time of wrapping this video up. I will definitely have all of my thoughts in obviously a reading wrap up. So if you want to see my rating and hear my thoughts before obviously my April wrap up comes out at the very end of the month, definitely follow my Goodreads, always linked down below. So far I am enjoying it. There are some things about it that I'm like, interesting. It's so fun to read, and I am kind of flying through it now, but I did read 50 pages in this video before April started. And then to give a little bit of a recap in this video, I read 3 other books. Started and finished The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Ended up rating this one 4 stars. I adore Riley Sager's thrillers. This one would definitely be one of my favorites up there. We also had Die My Love by Ariana Hoix, a very interesting, grotesque piece of kind of literary fiction. Wouldn't recommend it to the masses, but it was really good and I loved it. 4 stars. And then we also had Modern Divination by Isabel Agajanian, which I also rated 4 stars. This one is an academic rivals to lovers, dark academia sort of fantasy. Would 100% recommend it. I'm still thinking about this book even now. I only ended up reading 3 more books on my March TBR. What have I learned? This is the second time I'm doing this video. What have I learned by doing them? I don't read my TBRs. I never read my monthly TBRs, and I definitely want to change that. Obviously in February I said the exact same for March, and yet here we are. Dare I say there'll be another April video. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna fight for my life to read the majority of my April TBR, so hopefully we won't need to do another one of these videos. I have learned that I need to prioritize my monthly TBRs, so that is something to consider. as I go on. Yeah guys, that marks the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed. As always, if you did enjoy and you are not yet subscribed, it would mean the absolute world if you did consider doing so. We have so much fun over here and I would love to have you here. As always, if you have read any of the books that I also read in this video or ones that were on my TBR that I didn't get to, definitely please let me know. Try and convince me if they are. Maybe let me know of any books that you had on your March TBR that you didn't end up getting to. Might make me feel a little bit better. And yeah, again guys, thank you so much for being here and for spending some time with me. I really hope you enjoyed and I will see you again very, very soon with another video.